Adesawe Kanda. We are live on Facebook, STV3 Ghana, and on DSTV channel 279. My name is Josh Quinn. Top of the stories are: concerns emerge over whether the Ghana Education Service's blanket ban on graduation celebration will effectively end display of wealth on school campuses. Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly KMA moves to enforce building code as floods continue to wreak havoc in the Ashanti region. Also coming up this afternoon, health facilities are experiencing increasing reports of ailments linked to floods, poor sanitation, and contaminated water. We have details of these headlines and many others coming up in the next 60 minutes. If you spend your time with me, we also want to hear from you. We are active on Facebook, STV3 Ghana. Now the news begins. And this developing story, the Ministry of Education yesterday announced the immediate suspension of all senior high school graduation ceremonies across Ghana, following growing concerns over what it describes as excessive displays of wealth and flamboyance during such events. The directive issued by the Minister for Education, Haruna Iddrisu, is expected to remain in force until existing guidelines governing graduation ceremonies are reviewed. Now, questions are already emerging whether this is the right approach to deal with the challenge at hand. And now let's have a conversation on this very development. Let's engage the Executive Director of the Institute of Education Studies, IFES, Dr. Peter Anti, and then he joins us via Zoom. And Peter, what is your reaction to the Ghana Education Service's decision to ban flamboyant post-examination celebrations on school premises?
Perfect decision, perfect timing. I think that the conversation was growing in the public space, the advocacy was intense, and the ministry and the service responsible for the sector have responded adequately. And I think that that is the way to go. When we realize that something is, coming up in a sector, we need to nip it in the bud before it grows to consume all of us. And I think that is exactly what the service has done.
And do you believe the development warrants regulatory action?
Yes, I think that if we have people who will go contrary to what the directive has been, we need to use them as scapegoats. I believe in that. I think that for now, the students have finished their exams. We are not going to record any of such incidents. And that is why we need to use this period. The heads of the institutions should use this period to, sensitize and inform parents that the next final papers, these things should not be encouraged in their schools. They have almost 1 year to do the sensitization to ensure that they stamp the authority on this and make sure that this does not repeat in 2027. If they're not able to contain it, if they're not able to do that, and it repeats itself, I think that the service should take the bold decision and use that particular authority as a scapegoat.
Okay, and Peter, the GES argues that these celebrations create an unhealthy environment in schools. From an educational perspective, what impact can such displays have on students? We can even get the impact after. It's just not necessary. It's not necessary. The child has finished his exam. We all have to celebrate with him. But if you have something to give your award, you do it in your closet. You are taking the child home. What is this process of bringing these things to the school compound for everybody to look on? Some would definitely have psychological effects because of that particular scenario. Some would have other thoughts running through their mind, and other things coming on. So I think that we should not even go further to look at impact. We should just let people understand that it is a no-no. You can't do this in an educational institution. You have a liberty to give your child anything that you want, but it should be done at a place which is conducive, not at a school environment for other kids to just watch on and to create some sort of psychological and sometimes even emotional effect on these innocent children as they grow up.
Okay. Okay. So could these lavish celebrations deepen feelings of inequality among students whose families cannot afford such gifts?
Hello, please, the question again, sorry.
I mean, can this inequality affect some students whose parents cannot afford these gifts?
Exactly. That is what I mean by emotional and psychological effect.
Sure.
It can, and it can also give some thought to others to find ways and means to get rich by all means. Okay? And it can also remind others who have lost their parents and they are still in school to go through some emotional torture. So it's just a no-no. It's just a no-no. You can gift your child any gift that you want. You can get him a private jet. We don't care. Just do it in your compound or at a place that is conducive for the two of you, but not on the school or educational institutions, especially at the pre-tertiary level. We don't do this. That is irresponsible behavior. You don't do this.
Okay, and then on the perspective, from the perspective of some parents, some may argue that they have every right to celebrate their children's achievement. How should schools balance these parental rights?
Thank you. Parental rights does not include you coming to an educational institution, especially at the pre-tertiary level, where students are now developing their personality to come and show off. That is not parental right. And that's why I said that nobody is against gifting your own child, anything that we all buy things for our children. But we are saying that don't do it in an educational institutional environment, especially at the tertiary level. That's what we are saying. So keep your right, take your car, take your private jet, take your bulldozers, go and gift it to your children in your own compound. Nobody will come and complain there. Gift it at a place where you think you are at liberty to do. Nobody can complain there, but we are saying that don't bring it to the school environment. That's all.
Okay. Doc, thanks so much for your time. It's always a pleasure tapping into your expertise in this area of specialty. And Dr. Peter Partey-Anti is the Executive Director of the Institute of Education Studies, IFES. Away from issues relating to education, Deputy Ranking Member on the Defense and Interior Committee of Parliament, Kofi Amankwa-Manu, has said every Ghanaian must be worried about the additional money the contractor on the Afari Military Hospital project is quoting to enable it complete remaining works. The former Deputy Defense Minister believes an amount of over $80 million being requested by the contractor is suspicious. He told William Evans Inkum this very submission.
The calculation is very simple. This contract was supposed to be, or it is a turnkey project, and we all know what turnkey means. And the initial contract sum was 180 million, which money was a loan. It's been paid. And then the contractor, the President Kufuor actually went for this thing. So we should have started in 2008. It didn't materialize. But when the NDC assumed office in 2009, they changed the location from Sofoline in Ashanti region to Tamale in the northern region. Subsequently moved it from Tamale to Accra and then back to Ashanti region, Afari, to its present location, Afari. There was a gap of 6 years. So the contractor then came for additional funding of 36 million. But, the experts sat down and then came to a conclusion that no, there is the need, yes, to give him an additional funding, but it was not 36 million as he was claiming. And so government agreed to pay 19.3 million from the government of Ghana, GOG. That also has been paid. This is a turnkey project. And then going forward, because of COVID and all that, he came back with an additional claim of 6 million. Again, that figure was reduced to 3 million, which 2.5 out of the 3 has been paid. So technically, looking at it, what we owe on paper is $500,000. This is just simple calculation. And so it is surprising that out of nowhere, he comes to say that he needs, we owe him 7 million and then an additional $78 million to enable him to go back to site. This is something really we do not understand. And for a project that is at 98%, and then the contractor is demanding this money, is something every well-meaning Ghanaian must be worried about. It is something every well-meaning Ghanaian must begin to ask questions. What we are saying is that we do not.
And now the mayor of Kumasi says the Metropolitan Assembly will not hesitate to demolish structures obstructing waterways as part of efforts to reduce flooding in that city. Richard Akwesi-Ofori-Agyeman says while such actions may be difficult, they are necessary to protect lives and property. His comments come after heavy rains triggered flooding in parts of the metropolis over the past few days. Our correspondent Ibrahim Abubakar has more on this story.
The recent rains that swept through parts of Kumasi left some communities battling floods, reviving concerns about the city's perennial drainage challenges. Although some areas experienced flooding, authorities say the impact has been less severe compared to previous years. Officials attribute the improvement to extensive desilting and dredging exercises undertaken ahead of the rainy season. However, communities including Ohim and Oti Kuwait continue to face flood risk due to poor drainage infrastructure and widespread encroachment of waterways. The Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly, together with neighboring assemblies such as Askwari-Mampon and Ofori-Krom, has intensified efforts to clear drains and remove structures obstructing the free flow of water. The mayor says the assembly is prepared to take tough decisions, including demolishing buildings situated on waterways to prevent future disasters.
It's painful when you have to demolish somebody's lifetime investment. Nobody does that with excitement. Very, very painful. Sometimes you go and you see how they are wailing and the pain that they are going through. We are human beings, you feel it. You understand? But then we have to sacrifice them to protect thousands of lives and thousands of properties.
The mayor also warned engineers and officials who approve development on waterways that they will be held accountable for their actions. The National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, blames some engineers and planning officials for allowing development on wetlands and waterways, arguing that such actions have contributed significantly to the recurring flooding in the metropolis.
If we have people building in wrong locations, it is not NADMO. You don't build with a permit. It's vested in the engineers and the heads of works departments in the districts. And they're supposed to go out in the field to see or take reports and take action. So if you have a master plan and that place is a land reserve, why should somebody build there? And if he is building, who should see it? Nature isn't careless. You block it, it will block you.
With the peak of the rainy season still ahead, officials say a collective effort from residents, developers, and city authorities will be critical in preventing future floods. Ibrahim Abubakar, TV3 News, Kumasi.
Now, the rainy season, often welcomed for replenishing water sources and supporting agriculture, is also exposing a growing public health concern across Ghana. And the season is beginning to take a toll on public health, with health facilities across the country recording an increase in illnesses linked to contaminated water, poor sanitation, and flooding. Here's a report by Sarah Apagro.
Health officials had earlier warned that heavy rains could lead to a rise in waterborne and vector-borne diseases, including diarrhea, cholera, typhoid, and malaria. While no major outbreaks have been confirmed yet, clinicians say the pattern of cases being reported is a cause for concern. A visit to the Shayo Sudoko District Hospital in Dodowa revealed a busy outpatient department, with healthcare workers reporting a growing number of patients presenting with symptoms associated with the raining season.
So they come with diarrhea, some come with vomiting in addition to the diarrhea, they may have abdominal cramps, and then they have other symptoms as well. So we are seeing them at the OPD, and some come in bad states, so they have to be seen at the emergency, where they have passed several stools, they are vomiting, they are very weak, they are dehydrated. And it cuts across all age groups. So if feces get into water bodies, as can happen when you have flooding of this sort that is going into wells and all kinds of water bodies. And these are the same sources of water for some of our folks. Then you have the organisms being transmitted when you take in these water.
According to health professionals, flooding often contaminates water sources and disrupts sanitation systems, creating conditions for the spread of disease.
These diarrheal illnesses are usually preventable. So you need to get good sources of water, safe water sources. So as it stands now, because of the flooding, there may be a lot of boreholes that are contaminated. So it's also important as a people to have ways to dispose of our waste regularly and not to throw them, into gutters. So we need, as a people, to be conscious of how we dispose of our waste. And we'd also urge authorities to help us in this regard, to enforce strict sanitation laws.
The challenge is not limited to health facilities. In many communities, poor sanitation practices continue to heighten the risk of disease transmission during the rainy season. Residents of Busu and Noho in the Greater Accra region facing persistent sanitation challenges say they are aware of the health risks associated with poor waste disposal and stagnant water. However, they say they are constrained by inadequate infrastructure and limited waste management services.
All the time I will complain, especially Ekoji will get a say any of your Bona I connect waste ke will get a say me P. Ni kenyung bone den chagbili okay will get a sami. This is not the first time you on a Sunday.
We complain all the time, especially about the gutters. People have connected fecal matter waste into them. The refuse waste are also dumped by the roadside by the refuse collectors.
Ona ni kenyung bone an kwale be a flood or shift be a flood in lebe serious ye be ne. Ona she who knows keji be a flood in equal electric check from your loan.
In this community, fine we previously we were not having flood issues here, but at a point in time we started getting these flood issues.
This our era. I can tell you people to let AMA do have to allow people to come around and check the area very well, because if we talk, it will not hold. They'll even insult you.
Health officials are therefore urging the public to drink safe water, maintain proper hygiene, clear choked drains, and seek early medical attention when symptoms occur.
The rainy season is not only a test for emergency preparedness, but also a reminder that access to clean water and proper sanitation is the only defense against preventable diseases. Sarah Apenkro, TV3 News, Accra.
Well, if you just tuned in, you're watching the Father's Day edition of Weekend Central here on TV3 with myself, George Queening. In more news this afternoon, 400,000 trees are being planted across the Bono East region to help prevent the resurgence of households getting destroyed by rainstorm. And this forms part of government's tree planting program, which aims to restore degraded lands, combat climate change, and improve local ecosystems.
For many farming communities across the Bono East region, a heavy downpour is a source of destruction to livelihoods and properties. Since the start of this year, violent rainstorms have ripped through towns and villages, leaving a trail of collapsed buildings, torn-off roofs, and destroyed livelihoods. According to records from the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, the destruction has been staggering. An early February storm across Ateboamante municipality heavily damaged over 30 households and numerous schools. About a week after that destruction, a similar situation in Kamampe and its adjoining areas in the Kintampo North municipality destroyed about 150 households. Just a week later, a March rainstorm in the farming community of Mframa destroyed roughly 700 households, bringing the total number of houses heavily damaged in the region from January to date to a little over 800 homes. While emergency relief is equally as important, the natural grain protection cannot be overlooked. By pushing to plant 400,000 seedlings across the Bono East region this month, the initiative aims to build a natural defense system that will protect these vulnerable communities in the long run. Nowadays, rainstorm destroys households and livelihoods. Initially, it wasn't like that. So let us embrace this initiative because we are the same people to benefit from it.
It is a practical step towards restoring degraded lands, protecting our environment, creating green jobs, and building a more sustainable future for our communities.
Beyond physical protection, the initiative focuses on economic restoration.
His Excellency the President of the Republic of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama, has rightly championed the need to renew our relationship with nature and transform our forests into driving assets that support both economic growth and environmental sustainability.
By transforming degraded lands back into thriving forests, the project is designed to create a stable green job for local youth, offering a sustainable alternative to the volatile farming cycles currently threatened by climate change. Belinda Tete, TV3 News, Bono East Region.
This is Weekend Central, the Father's Day edition. We're going for our very first commercial break. We're back with more news. Stay with us. Back from the break, and now altercations between firefighters and civilians over quick response to fire incident and operational efficiency has dominated headlines for many weeks. But what really goes into firefighting and what misconceptions about the job may be fueling this mistrust? My colleague Nura Mohammed spent a day taking us into the world of Ghana's firefighters in this special report.
Fire, water, earth, air. For centuries, these four elements have shaped our world, and standing at the intersection of all four are the men and women of the Ghana National Fire Service. Firefighters are often amongst the first people called when disaster strikes. Yet in recent months, some firefighters in Ghana have found themselves battling more than flames. At several fire scenes, tensions between firefighters and civilians have escalated into confrontations, raising questions about public understanding of emergency response operations. To better understand the realities of the job, I spent a day with firefighter Alex, following him from the start of his shift through the routines and responsibilities that prepare him and his colleagues for emergencies. The day begins long before any emergency call comes in. At the fire station, firefighters assemble for morning parade, receive briefings, and prepare themselves for whatever the day may bring. For Alex, every shift starts with one important task: preparation. Before a single fire call is received, every piece of equipment must be accounted for and inspected.
We don't go to our fire scenes without our tools, so realize the first locker. This locker contains all the one of the hoses. It contains the hoses that we use.
It is a routine repeated daily across fire stations nationwide. Then comes the waiting. For firefighters, an ordinary day can change in seconds. As we were still on tour, a call comes through. Information was gathered, the crew mobilized, and within moments, we were on the road.
Hello, this is fire service.
While many members of the public only see the final moments of a firefighting operation, there are protocols that guide every response. The first priority upon arrival is assessing the situation. Firefighters determine the source of the fire, identify potential risks, establish safety zones, and evaluate whether anyone remains trapped. Only then does the firefighting operation begin.
So when we get to the scene, we do an assessment. So per the assessment that we do, we look at the strengths, the weaknesses, and the challenges that we'll be confronting at the fire scene. Firstly, we would ask if there's someone trapped in there. If there's someone trapped in there, our priority is to make sure that we're able to bring the person out safely. If there's no one trapped in there, the next thing is be able to know what is on fire or how the fire started. We don't just get to a fire scene and start pouring water on the fire. Mind you, water cannot quench every fire. There are some fires that would require the foam concentrate. There are some fires that would require ECG coming to the area to cut power supply to the area before we're able to start tackling the fire.
Just as firefighters follow protocols, civilians also have responsibilities during emergencies.
During the fire emergency, the affected person wants you, the emergency responder, to be able to help him or her within the shortest possible of time. And therefore, they are not ready to listen to you, especially when you are waiting, when you say you are waiting for ECG to isolate power. We also want the general public to also support us, one, by adhering to the various safety messages that we give, and then also make it a priority to safeguard your own life. Safety is a personal thing.
At the scene, some eyewitnesses interacted with Alex and his team, thanking them for their swift response, but also making some complaints. Another challenge lies beneath the streets. Fire hydrants, a critical source of water during emergencies, are sometimes inaccessible, faulty, or difficult to locate due to encroachment.
It has never been the case that we would deploy a fire engine without water. We don't practice that because we don't have a lot of faith in a hydrant system. Elsewhere, there are fire engines. If you go to North America or Europe, most of their fire engines do attend fires without water because they have robust functional fire hydrants, and therefore they go empty, connect their hoses to their pump, and they fight the fire directly from the hydrant point.
An appeal was also made to the government for support.
It's very unfortunate that I'm sure even in your capacity you've not heard. It's been a while you heard donations being made to the Ghana National Fire Service. It's very sad. When our prominent people are having their birthdays, they go and donate to our brothers, forgetting that we are also there. If we even get one of those pickups, we can be able to convert these pickups into road traffic coalition or rapid intervention vehicle, so that whenever there's a distress, we'll be able to get there on time. So please, our rich men, when you are donating to our sister services, remember us.
I would also want to appeal to the corporate Ghana, individuals, and then philanthropists, in as much as we are a state institution which has to be fully funded by the state. I mean, as we wait on government to retool us, to provide us with the state-of-the-art equipment, what can we do as corporate Ghana, as individual, as entities that has the Ghana National Fire Service at heart?
Despite these limitations, firefighters continue to answer every call. For Alex and his colleagues, the work goes beyond extinguishing flames. It is about protecting communities, often at personal risk. And while recent altercations between firefighters and civilians have made headlines, the solution may lie not in assigning blame, but in educating the masses.
No, I haven't changed careers, at least not yet. And thankfully, nobody has asked me to climb a ladder or put out a fire today, because that will be a different kind of emergency altogether. Firefighters say that their work is most effective when communities work with them and not against them. A few moments of cooperation can make the difference between a fire being contained and a disaster escalating. Firefighting is not a one-sided responsibility. It requires preparedness, public cooperation, government funding, and a shared understanding of the realities on the ground.
Nura Mohammed, TV3 News, Accra.
Indeed, duty beyond flames, and kudos to all our gallant firefighters for doing a no-man's job. In the face of the growing challenges that confront Ghana's cocoa production in the traditional cocoa-growing regions, the Volta and OT regions are being positioned to become the new frontiers to shore up the country's output. Stakeholders in the two regions are calling for public-private sector partnerships to ensure sustainable production that will not only increase productivity, but also provide jobs. More in this following report.
Ghana's cocoa production in the last few years has seen a significant decline, with national output dropping from 1 million metric tons to as low as 531,000 tons in the 2023-2024 season, before moving upwards to an estimated 700,000 tons. Despite this marginal increase, concerns have risen, with a downturn attributed to a combination of climate change, pests and disease, and most especially the rampant galamsey menace in the cocoa-growing regions. In light of this, stakeholders are advocating for a shift to places like the Volta and OT regions to shore up the country's production.
It is early morning in Katinga, a farming community in the Tolon district of the northern region. Within minutes, trucks are filled beyond capacity, not only with bags of maize, yam, livestock and other goods, but also with the traders themselves. Nadra Mohammed reports that traders risk their lives hanging on the overloaded trucks just to get to their various destinations.
For many,
sharing the same truck with their merchandise is not a choice, but the only transport they can afford. Amina has been using this truck for past decade.
The reason why we are always in this car is because some of the goods that we come to school in car, except this. So that's why we are always in this car, because if you put some goods here and you go to board another car, they won't access. So unless it and the goods get decided. Even though we know it's risky, but we have been managing.
Drivers insist they simply responding to the realities faced by their passengers.
The reason why passengers and their goods to the market during market days is because they complain of lack of funds to pay for the transportation charge. And we sometimes overload the trucks because we need money to buy fuel the next day and to also leave some to cater for ourselves and for our family.
But what begins as an effort to save money can end in tragedy. Mustafa knows this all too well. He survived a crash involving an overloaded truck that reportedly claimed about 5 lives. The memory of this incident still haunts him.
So there was a car coming in front of us. So when the car was coming, our driver was overspeed. So he gave the car place to pass, not knowing that there was a small motoki parked around that side. So he was trying to dodge the motoki, he hit the motoki small, then he branched inside the bush. That's what happened.
Mustafa's story reflects a wider road safety challenge confronting Ghana. According to provisional figure from the National Road Safety Authority, the country recorded 14,743 road crashes in 2025, resulting into 2,949 deaths and 16,714 injuries, an increase over the previous year. The figures have renewed concern about dangerous road practice and the need for stronger enforcement and public education. Road safety experts warn that transporting passengers on truck loaded with heavy cargo can significantly increase the consequences of a crash by affecting vehicles' stability, braking and maneuverability. The planning manager at the National Road Safety Authority, Edmond Osei-Konedu, believes sustained public education and stricter compliance with transport regulations are critical to changing behavior.
I think there should be an enforcement and the education should also go down. That's the two main things that we need to look at. And the third one is with regards to the road network to those rural areas.
The Motor Traffic and Transport Department of the Ghana Police Service also acknowledges the problem. Superintendent Richard Odate says enforcement efforts are being intensified to discourage overloading and ensure drivers comply with road traffic laws.
There are vehicles that are meant for carrying passengers and human beings, and there are vehicles that are made for carrying cargo and other materials. So if you see human beings and cargo boxed together in a vehicle, it is the doing of the individuals who are on the vehicle, i.e. the driver permitting them to be on that vehicle or be on that cargo, and then the passengers themselves failing to take their safety as a priority.
Yet in Katiga and many other communities, the economic realities remain difficult to ignore. As the truck pull away from the market, traders climb aboard alongside sacks of produce and livestock, hoping to reach their destination safely. For many, it is a calculated risk taken in pursuit of a livelihood. Until affordable transport options become more accessible and safety rules are consistently observed, overloaded trucks may continue to carry not just goods to market, but lives balanced on the edge of danger. Nadra Mohammed, TV3 News, Katinga.
Would like to hear from you. Let's know of what you make of stories that I've aired so far. We are active on Facebook as TV3 Ghana. Hopefully read your comments and share them to the rest of the world. In more news this afternoon, we are receiving reports regarding some chaotic scenes at the Christo Asafo Mission Church, a ceremony organized to install a replacement for the deceased leader, Apostle Kojo Safo, is said to have turned violent. Gunshots were heard outside the venue with a vehicle riddled with gunshots. It's unclear at this stage whether anyone was injured in the process. The church has, however, posted on its Facebook page indicating that the installation of a successor has been concluded. It is worth noting that 2 members of the church on Friday filed a legal action at the High Court seeking to hold the coronation ceremony. They contend Apostle Safo supervised an amendment to the church's constitution to provide for his successor, contrary to way and manner the church was conducting it. It's a story we are following closely, and we will be bringing you updates in our subsequent bulletins. Well, our man on the grounds is Noble Crosby Annan, and he joins us for more updates. Noble, good afternoon. Thanks for your time. And what is the situational report there? We are told that there was supposed to be a coronation ceremony. How true is that? Can you brief us shortly? Crosby, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. And I'm saying, give us a situational report there, and what more can you tell us?
What I can report, George, is that if you come to the Akofena Palace, which is around the Kwabinya Musuku area, around the Chelsea Lodge area, this is a residence that one of the children of the late Apostle Kojo Safo lives in. It's one of the houses. What is happening here is that I can count about 3 police pickup vehicles, and they are stationed at the various entry points of this residence, this large property. A few minutes ago, we saw some other people from various areas in the country. Some of them were speaking fancy, and some were indicating that they had traveled from the central region to be part of a certain event here at the Akofena Palace. Beyond the people who were clad in black who had come to witness this event here at the Akofena Palace, we see some other bystanders as well. That was a few minutes ago, some minutes ago. It was a little charge. There were some crowds gathered here, pockets of people gathered and having conversations amongst themselves. In my engagement with the police officers here, the leader of the team is telling me that they heard of a disturbance here, and the team quickly mobilized to come. But as we speak, calm has been restored. I understand no arrests have been made. I should also say that the police team here is maybe being some economical with the information they are providing, but the police officers are still stationed here. 4 vehicles I can count as I speak to you, pickup vehicles. In the next moment or so, some of the vehicles may leave because the situation has been brought under control, according to the leader of the police team here. This is a residence that has its own security arrangement. There are security personnel also here protecting the property itself, but this is, if you like, reinforcement, because ordinarily you wouldn't see these police pickup vehicles stationed at the entry point of the Akofena Palace property.
Okay. And Crosby, and then we understand that it was a coronation ceremony. Did the attack actually cut short the event, or it actually concluded?
Unfortunately, George, I will not be able to confirm whether it was truncated or it was concluded. But what I can say is that for the people who had come to witness the ceremony, it looked as though it came to an end, although there were some distractions here and there. But they are telling me that the program they came to an end, and they left, not abruptly, they left after the successful completion of why they had come. Although for a few moments, for some moments in the program, there were some disturbances, like the police is putting it.
But were there any casualties with these gunshots on these vehicles? Were the casualties recorded?
I have not seen that. But if you go onto social media, you see pictures and videos of the vehicle and videos of the former member of parliament for the area, who seems to be injured from something people are attributing to what has happened here, George.
Thank you so much, Noble Crosby, and he'll bring us more updates tonight on News Street. Noble Crosby, Annan is our man on the grounds, actually monitoring this very developments. If you just tune in, we are receiving reports regarding some chaotic scenes at the Christos Affirmation Church. A ceremony organized to install a replacement for the deceased leader, Apostle Kojo Safo, is said to have turned violent. Gunshots were heard outside the venue with a vehicle riddled with gunshots. It's unclear at this stage whether anyone was injured in the process. The church has, however, posted on its Facebook page indicating that the installation of a successor has been concluded. It is worth noting that 2 members of the church on Friday filed a legal action at the High Court seeking to halt the coronation ceremony. They contend Apostle Safo supervised an amendment to the church's constitution to provide for his successor, contrary to way and manner the church was conducting it. It's a story we are following closely. I'll bring you updates in our subsequent bulletins. While you're still watching Weekend Central here on TV3, we're going for a quick commercial break. We're back with more news. Stick and stay with us. Welcome back from the break. Before we part company, at 15, Hannah's childhood was cut short when she was forced into marriage and later became a teenage mother, putting her education on the brink of collapse. But against the pain of rejection, stigma and mockery, she fought her way back into the classroom and has now completed senior high school, carrying with her a story of resilience, courage, and hope. Stanley Niebler was in Nabdam in the Upper East region to follow up on Hannah's journey from a forced marriage survivor to a young graduate and reports.
In 2023, I met then 15-year-old Hannah at the Gundog Junior High School in the Nabdam district, a teenager whose life had taken a difficult turn far beyond her age. Hannah was in Form 3, but while her colleagues were preparing for the future, she was battling a reality she never chose, a forced marriage arranged by her own parents. Her parents had accepted 6 bottles of locally brewed gin, cola, 6 guinea fowls and 300 cedis as bride price from a man who was more than 3 times the age of Hannah as a husband. The man was already married with children, but divorced his wife for Hannah, a union that raised concerns under Ghana's laws on child marriage. When I first encountered Hannah, she was back in school, but still living under the same roof with the man she was forced to marry. Ironically, she attends the same school with his children.
I was given for marriage at a young age. My daughter is equally young, and I don't want her to bring home teenage pregnancy. That is why I supported the move to marry her off.
The parent confirmed that actually she got married, but he told the husband that he shouldn't allow her to stop schooling. We spoke to the parent that what he did is unfair because it's not 2 things to worry about. How can a girl be schooling while being in the husband's house?
Child marriage remains a challenge in some communities in this part of the Nabdam district, and Hannah is one of the many young girls whose childhoods have been interrupted. For Hannah, the marriage brought no happiness. She wanted to leave, but her parents were unwilling to take her back. During my interaction with Hannah at the school, I noticed changes in her body that she had not paid attention to. I suspected she could be pregnant. To confirm, I took her to a nearby community-based health planning and services CHIPS compound for a test. 5 minutes later, the result was ready. Hannah was pregnant. Her junior high school journey was suddenly threatened, but she refused to give up. In her class, she was joined by 2 other teenage expectant mothers, Veronica and Mary, who also delivered after writing the basic education certificate examination, leaving the education at a crossroads. For Hannah and Veronica, I sought admission to Congo Senior High School, the only second cycle institution in the Nabdam district, after the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection intervened to dissolve the forced marriage. Mary also secured admission to Zuarungu Senior High School. Today, the 3 girls have completed senior high school after sitting for the West African Senior School Certificate Examination, WASSCE. I returned to meet Hannah and Veronica after their final paper.
When I was in Form 1, it was difficult because every day riding bicycle to Koisek, it was not easy. But today I'm happy to complete Congo Senior High. And I want to thank you. God bless you. God will help you.
They described the journey as difficult, but one worth fighting for. Now 18, Hannah recalls the emotional pain of being mocked by some colleagues whenever she left campus to breastfeed her daughter.
It was not easy because I have to wake up early, bath, feed the child before coming to school. Every day I'll come late. And if I even come, they'll be laughing at me, thinking I'm a bad girl because the way it was, I was not feeling okay. But today that I'm complete, I'm happy. I was not thinking that the day will come so that I will also complete.
But beyond the ridicule, she found strength to continue. A teacher who supported Hannah's admission explained to TV3 News how the young mother now uses her experience to inspire and educate her peers.
I think she is one of those who even has turned as a counselor to her colleagues and even the juniors. Because there are more girls who have in her situations where she's able to give an advice on that. So she has turned herself to even be a counselor to those students.
The headmaster, Martin Dito, also expressed satisfaction with the transformation in Hannah's life.
Well, at the time you got here, Hannah was so happy that she was completing school today, and her friends who saw her predicament started pouring, powder on her because of the kind of height that she's getting. And she's full of hope that the future will be brighter for her. And I just want to use this opportunity to thank TV3 for at least intervening, because this is personality that can do much better for Mother Ghana.
As final year boarding students left campus after completing their examinations, I followed Hannah home to meet her parents. There was a moment of joy as Hannah's mother welcomed her home, proud to see her daughter free from marriage that once threatened her future. Hannah has become the first daughter in her family to complete senior high school. Her mother dropped out in class 2. She admits she has learnt her lessons and promises none of her daughters will be forced into early marriage.
I say me just school P2 and my baby. Now me ban me na nyame adom te me pese ko mu nyina ko school sa. Said ye must say Jimmy ma be mani. Babo maden. Me bra nyina me bra no. Omo mo ka kire ni nyina. Yankopon te. Na me ba itim ko school. Say be fe.
For Hannah, the battle is not over. While she celebrates her education, she faces another challenge. The father of her child has refused to take responsibility after losing the relationship with the teenage mother. But Hannah holds on to one belief that her past will not define her future. Hannah's story may not be the first, but it reflects the courage, resilience and determination of young girls who continue to defy the odds in pursuit of a better future. Stanley Niblew, TV3 News, Nabdam, Upper East Region.
Well, that's all time will allow. Before we part company, let's honor the wish of one of our greatest fans, and she is Abigail J from GRA, and this is to the husband. Happy Father's Day. The kids and herself, we love you and cherish him. And also to all fathers across the country and potential ones, of course, and may your labor never be in vain. For more news updates, just log on to our website, s3news.com, and alternatively, join my colleagues at 7 News 360. Thanks for watching. Happy Father's Day. Good afternoon.
Portia, you're so beautiful.
move goods and communities to access essential healthcare and other social services. Against this backdrop came the District Road Improvement Program to equip local assemblies with the machinery and capacity to undertake routine road maintenance and improve the condition of roads within their jurisdictions. But that needle has barely moved. I am Kemeni Amano, and this is Hot Issues. In today's edition, we examine why many communities are still saddled with poor roads despite the scale of investment in machinery. My guest is longer-serving DRIP coordinator, Nii Lante Vanderpoy. Honorable, you're welcome to Hot Issues.
Thank you.
Let's look at your time as DRIP National Coordinator. Rather short time. It's about what?
But the best time in my life.
Why do you say that?
It got me opportunities to be able to interact with the ordinary people in our various constituencies and districts. Get me opportunity to be able to go to villages to see how difficult it is for them to access markets, school, health, I love those things because by the grace of God, I could have been in those small communities, harmless farmhouses. Because I used to walk 5 kilometers from the farm village to the town center to go to school. It was only by the grace of God Almighty that I had opportunity. I appreciated the fact that I had opportunity to say that this community, they used to spend 2 hours to be able to access the district capital. But today, through DRIP, they're able to do that in 15 minutes, in 30 minutes.
How many of such communities
A lot.
exist today?
A lot. A lot. I can tell you when you go to places like the Upper West region, Upper East region, Savannah region, Northern region, Western, North, Western, even Ashanti. I just come back from Ashanti. A week ago, I was in Ashanti region, and I went to some of the districts, and it was an experience because, but for the work that the MMDCs and the DRIP coordinators are doing, many of the people will never have up. I went to a place where the people have virtually given opportunity to DRIP and the district assembly to cut down their cocoa trees, their orange trees, and create access for them. Because they used to go through 2 other districts before they could access their own district capital. Before they could have health care. You understand? So today, they are ready. And the assembly has opened up. It's almost 15.6 kilometers from their hamlet to town. And the joy. They were feeding the workers, the operators of the equipment. They themselves had contributed money for the assembly to buy diesel to do the work for them.
Right.
It means that their life is dependent on that road infrastructure, even though it is not tarred.
So how many kilometers of road were paved, repaired, or constructed over the time that you were National DRIP coordinator?
Wow, that is a lot. In fact, as at March, when we did our last appraisal through DRIP, we've done almost 11,400 kilometers.
I see.
Of reshaping. Yes, of roads across the country.
Across the country?
Yes.
Across all 261 districts?
Yes, and I can tell you the topmost region for now is Ashanti region.
It's Ashanti region.
Ashanti, and then Upper West, Upper East, Bono East, Western, Central, Volta. Let me say the region that has not done too well is my own region, Greater Accra. You and I are our region.
Yes, but let's look at why some regions got more attention than others. Why is that the case?
You see, we have some little problem as far as funding is concerned.
Okay.
The assemblies have been dependent solely on their own IGFs. And then sometimes the magnanimity of the people the understanding is also very key. When the people in the region, and I'm saying Ashanti because the regional minister has spurred on this intentional attitude of contributing to the work that Assembly is doing. He's been very intentional about it. He's solicited.
You mean the Ashanti region?
Yes, Ashanti region. He solicited the concern of the chiefs and the people are ready to say that I know the Assembly hasn't got money to do this road. We are contributing. We are buying diesel for the Assembly. We are buying the gravel for the Assembly. For the Assembly can open it up for us. So that is also one of the issues. And two, the consciousness of the fact that we are government, the president's representatives in a very, very hostile political environment. So people are gauging constantly our performance. So we need to up our performance so that it will make our party attractive to the people who hitherto did not vote for us. So that consciousness is there. The intention to make the NDC much more attractive in the Ashanti region has been the key driver of the effort of the regional minister, the regional coordinators, and the district coordinators of DRIP and the MMDCs to make sure that the region works hard.
So in the national capital, where you have just told us that, look, it would appear that the DRIP officers at the assemblies, haven't done a lot of work as compared to the other 5 or 6 regions you mentioned. Who do we blame for that? National DRIP or the assemblies?
In fact, you can't blame anyone.
Why so?
The reason being that these equipments are driven by fuel, diesel, lubricants, and the rest. Managing them is also about funding because you need to service them. You need to change parts, you need to repair, you need to replace. So if you don't have the money, it becomes difficult. It's been difficult because most of the assemblies virtually depend on the common fund.
Okay.
Because their IGF is nothing to write home about. And the common fund comes with a guideline. And the guidelines does not include money for roads. So they are handicapped. So anytime they are able to mobilize a little from their IGF, then they do the little they can.
Right.
You understand? The IGF is not enough for them to get up and say, we are doing all our roads. So anytime they get a little from the IGF, they do. 2, Greater Accra, let me say this. In some of the regions I mentioned, the members of parliament have taken it upon themselves because they know that retaining their seats is also dependent on delivery on the roads because they have more rural roads and that's where their votes are. So if you go to some places, such as the Upper West, and all, the MPs have taken over and they are totally funding the DRIP activities.
And MPs in Greater Accra are not doing so?
I'm not saying that, but their effort cannot be compared to what is happening in other regions.
Okay.
You understand? Because here, it's like the presence of the highways, urban roads, and the rest places some sort of, let me say, an obstacle or hurdle on the way and in the path of the assemblies. The assemblies go in, and then they say, no, this one is urban roads. It is not one of the roads for DRIP. Because DRIP mainly takes care of feeder roads, roads that are not tarred and all those things. But not mostly the urban road. But I have come out to tell them that, look, whether you like it or not, every road passes through a particular jurisdiction. So if you're the representative of the president, and there is this is it manhole or I don't know how to call it on your road, even though the road is a highway, if you sit down and look at it, saying that this is highway project, and then there's an accident, you will be responsible. So you have the equipment. If it is gravel, it is bitumen you need to patch that hole, do that until the Ministry of Roads and Highways or Urban Roads awards the road on contract. And that's what they've been doing. Let me give you, for example, I am aware that the MP for Botiano English Amanfrom, for example, Felix Akwete, has spent hundreds of thousands of cedis to manage the roads in his. He has terrible roads. Even at Tamils Highway, the one between Old Barrier up to Botiano, it's terrible. So many, most of the roads in his constituency are untarred. And he has a problem. Almost every week, he was on the Barrier, Aplaku, Botiano road. As soon as it rains, it goes bad. They have scraped the road so much, the drip machine has worked on the road so much that now they can't do it anymore, unless there is a new surface. So such a situation, you can't blame the MP. You can't also blame the assembly because the assembly do not have the money.
Very well.
They are scared that if they should use any part of the common fund and it goes against the guidelines, they will be cited for misapplication. But my contention is that none of the MMDCs brought those roads from their family home. None of them on appointment came with those roads. All the roads are the legacies they've inherited as MMDCs. So if there's 20% for legacy in the common fund formula, they could use that money to do the roads. That's the education I'm giving them now.
I see.
Because they can't sit down and say we're waiting for money until it is prescribed that use this amount of money for roads. I will not do the roads. The roads are also legacies.
So I mean,
the legacies do not mean only that uncompleted school project or that uncompleted polyclinic.
Makes sense.
The roads are also legacies. So now all of them have begun to understand that they could use that money also to do the roads. So I'm hoping that immediately the rains ends, you will see a lot more action in the various districts because now they understand that they can use that money to do the roads.
The issue of fuel for the equipment is very, crucial to the success of the program and also very challenging for the MMDCs, as you have, rightly explained. In fact, in Amasia West, we note that the district coordinating director has talked about how they use about 5 drums of diesel for about 2 or 3 hour job in their area. That's what he said, to media back then.
It's not possible.
It's not possible. 5 drums, you can't use 5 drums for
2 hours?
For 2 or 3 hours.
The full tank of, for example, the grader works for 8 hours. And that's about 3,580 cedis.
I see.
And that is just about the drum.
Right. So it couldn't have been that, because then it gives, the impression.
Not on one equipment.
Not on one equipment.
Maybe they have about 4 equipment work, because if you're doing a road work today, an emergency road work, they will need a grader. They will need the roller. They will need the water bowser, and they will need the tipper truck.
Right.
They may even need the backhoe. So if you have all these 5 equipment, then it's possible you could use 2 drums.
I see.
But 2 drums could work for about 6 to 8 hours.
Right. So the point I'm making with that is it's not only whether or not we have the money. It's also seen as a very expensive venture for the assembly.
Yeah, that's why they are incapable.
Can we still talk about DRIP as a successful program when we didn't make plans for the most crucial element needed to move the machines?
There was a plan. Initially, when it started under the previous regime, every assembly was given 500,000 cedis for a quarter in terms of operations and management administration. Unfortunately, when we came in, the accountability for that money was really horrible.
What does that mean?
What it meant is that because it was close to elections, some MMDCs were parliamentary candidates. So they did not allow the assembly to have access to the money. They managed the money themselves. So accounting it becomes difficult. A lot of the time also, some of these monies were given directly to the parliamentary candidates of the then government. Instead of the monies going through the accounting system of the assembly. So if you go to some of the assemblies, that 500,000 did not reflect exhaustively in their accounting process. You get it? So the Minister of Finance was reluctant to give out more money when the accounting of the previous one has not been properly done. And I agreed with him. Subsequently, we're thinking that all those accounting procedures will be cleared out. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. We are still talking.
Why didn't it happen?
It didn't happen because the Public Accounts Committee was going through the Assembly's accounts, and you had a place where somebody paid 500,000 cedis for 1 day diesel. Even if you have a fleet of planes, you won't pay that. You won't use that amount of money for a day. So accounting has become a problem. Up to today, I don't think all the assemblies have accounted for the 500,000 cedis which were given as far back as 2024.
I see.
So now, government decides that 80 to 85% of the total disbursement of the common fund should go directly to the assemblies. You understand? First, it was disbursed from our office, the National Secretariat, to the assemblies, to the district assemblies common fund. This time,
for the purpose of field.
Yes.
Okay.
And now the Minister of Finance say all the money should go to the assemblies. So it is expected that the assemblies will now take money from their own to handle DRIP. Unfortunately, those disbursements came with the guidelines. And the guidelines did not specify roads. So the MMDCs and the finance officers are reluctant
to release money for those.
Yes, because they felt that they may be cited for misapplication.
Right.
Until we decided that, look, we need to be robust about this. We can't sit down and allow these equipment to be there. And the roads are also legacies.
No, but it means that the NDC didn't solve a problem.
We have solved
it. You tried to end one problem, but instead of resolving it properly, you created another challenge because now we can't buy fuel.
The challenge here is that people need to have an understanding that the roads are also part of the legacies they took over as an assembly. And so they can use part of the fund for legacy to handle the roads. This was not clear enough to them previously. But now we've gone around the country, we've educated them. And that's why some people don't have a problem. They're just using their DRIP equipment to do the work they have to do. The rains is what is making us have a little bit of, let me say, a stop. So we are using this time to go around and make sure that they are servicing the equipment. We are making sure that all the equipment go through the maintenance regime, the servicing regime, whether periodic maintenance or scheduled maintenance. So when the rains end, all the equipment will be set to now go back to the field and do what they have to do.
So that is what you're doing during the rainy season?
Yes.
My question to DRIP is, what did DRIP do to prepare for the rainy season?
A lot was done. A lot of the roads. The past month, I was in Upper West, from Upper West to Volta region, from Volta to Western to Ashanti, Ashanti to Ahafo. And I can say without doubt, it's been great work. Immense work has been done. I am so happy about what I saw, because it's not just going to the district. Go there, you get a brief, and then you go to the field itself to see for yourself the roads that have been done. You inspect the equipment, and you check whether they've been maintained well, and you caution them and educate them on how to manage their maintenance policy well.
What was that preparation for? And I'm asking because there are still quite a bit of immotorable roads.
A lot.
Because of the rains.
A lot.
So when you say that a lot was done in preparation for the rainy season, what exactly did we achieve?
But the roads we have, definitely once it is done, because they are not bitumen surface, because they are not asphalted, when it rains, it will have effect on it again. That is why it is improvement. Every time it rains, we go in and improve. But now the equipment cannot work on the rain. So you wait, let the rain cease. When the rains have ceased, then you can see the enormity of the problem you have. Then you can now profile the roads properly and know what sort of work you need to do to improve them, reshape them for the communities to enjoy that. But for now, you can't do enough. The ones we are seeing, most of the problems we are also seeing are in the urban centers.
I see.
Roads that have been eroded by the rain because the road was not properly done and the rest.
But couldn't we have assigned DRIP machinery to prepare these communities for the rains?
They can. They can, but the issue still boils down to one fact that some of those roads are not under drip. Some of them are urban roads, some of them are highways. Let me give you an example.
But we have the machinery.
Yes, we have.
That could help repair some of these.
You know, the
roads.
problem we're having is also one of these turf wars. Let me give you an example. Between Laura and Hamley, they call it N21. Serious potholes are generated on the road. When I went to the assembly, I traveled on it. So when I got there, I said, MNDC, what are these potholes on your road? Can you do something? I said, look, when we tried to do it, the engineer said, no, this is highway project. So we have no, it is not our responsibility. Don't touch it.
Wow.
I said, please, you know something? Don't allow them to put you into trouble. The insults on the radio station will not be referred to the highways director or the engineer. It's you and our government. Tomorrow, get your equipment ready. Go for some gravel. Go for some chippings. Go and buy bitumen. Move there and patch those holes. Anytime the highways people are ready, they should come and award it on contract. We don't award contract. You understand? But sometimes people intentionally will want those potholes to become bigger so they can award contracts and get no coffee. You understand? So when you want to touch it, they say, no, it is not your responsibility. This is urban roads. This is highways. But when something happens, it's the assembly that will suffer for it. So I've urged all MMDCs not to listen to those things. When you have to fill the pothole, fill it and leave it. Because you have the equipment, you have a roller. All that you need is the chippings and the bitumen. Go and patch it and leave.
Right.
For example, there's this road between Wa and Wachau. It's a highway, but it hasn't got bitumen on it. It hasn't got asphalt on it. Then the bridge broke in. So all buses moving from Wa to Kumasi were stuck. And then we got there. The DCE says, the highways engineer said they should wait. They are going to do estimate and bring a contractor. My sister, when would that road be repaired if it's going to go through this bureaucracy? Within 24 hours, we use the drip equipment with the support of Honorable Peter Tobu, the MP for Wa West. We were able to restore the road and the buses moved. That is the emergency work drip can do. So sometimes it's also about
the turf war.
The turf war.
I want us to take a break. When we come back, let's look a bit more about this turf war, how to resolve it. And then we would also narrow down on the audit work you did when you traveled around the country to look at what the state, the bank of equipment we have are now, and how we could use it to support development at the local government level. It's hot issues. We'll be right back.
So government is doing big push. All the big push roads passes through a particular district. And I'm sure if we are really going by a local governance administrative system, all these contractors who are working may have sought permits from the district assemblies. So the district assemblies may have gotten some revenue from the work the contractors are doing. Citing their work at their places also has contributed to the economic activities of the district. So they must be responsible for those roads when they are finished. So you don't wait. As soon as a pothole comes up on a road, whether it's a highway or not, the assembly must be conscious of it, and the assembly must immediately move into it and do some remedial measure to resolve the problem on the pothole so that it doesn't expand. Because once it becomes bigger, then it's going to have a toll on government revenue. It's going to affect us economically. But once it starts, and within a short time the assembly moves in and patch it, it will reduce government expenditure. We'll have more economic benefit in the investment the state has made in DRIP. So the equipment cannot be there, and assuming, for example, around this time when it's raining and we cannot do any work on the feeder roads, and there is a problem on, let's say, the road between Tema Community 2 and 1, the main road, maybe the Arbor Road, there's a problem there. The assembly cannot sit down and wait and say, because this one is urban road, or because this one is a highway. No, the assembly should immediately go in and patch that to reduce the cost on government, which will be as a result of you sitting down and allowing that portal to become bigger, and it will cause government to now award it on contract for work to be done on it. So once we become conscious of our responsibilities, the assembly goes beyond every other responsibility. Whether it is highway or it is urban roads or it is this, it is a responsibility of the assembly to maintain that road.
I see. Could this be the reason, accusations of contracts being awarded for roads that DRIP should be fixing, or indeed you have come across examples of DRIP roads being awarded to private firms?
I would say there's nothing like DRIP roads. Every road is a road in a particular district. That is the principle I want to espouse first. And then I would say this. Those contracts which are being awarded, I believe that if those monies, the cost of those contracts, those monies have been given to the assemblies, they will do more and better than the contracts that are awarded.
I see. So were there really cases where road construction that DRIP machinery could have worked on
because
were given to private firms?
What are the equipment that a private contractor have that DRIP do not have? You understand? So, for example, my district, Gas South, and then the road between Barrier, the Tamils Highway, is awarded to a contractor. Maybe about 4 million or 5 million cedis. Let's give that 5 million cedis to the assembly. I'm sure the assembly will do a better job than the contractor. Because you know why? It is their road. They will be keen on the job they deliver. You understand? And then they will be responsible for the road. But the contractor comes, does his work, takes his money, and he goes away. Whatever happens next is not his business. But the assembly, because they are going to construct that road, will be responsible. They will do it well. Because if they don't do it well, the people will have the responsibility to ask them questions. So they will do it well, and they will maintain that road better. That's my belief. That if we really believe in decentralization, then those small roads should be given to the assemblies and let the assemblies work on it themselves. And then they have the money so that they will now be able to utilize the machines and be able to get the benefits of the machine for the people in whose interest government did this investment.
I see. Back in February, you had the cause to, out of frustration, to talk to MMDCEs who were not using their DRIP machinery for the work that they do. In fact, you had called for sanctions for such behavior. Is it the case that few may not be the only reason certain communities in some districts have poor roads?
It is not only a fuel. The administrative cost is also there. They have to pay the coordinators. They have to pay the operators of the equipment. As we talk today, we've recruited operators. They needed to be trained and also certified. But we'll not be able to do so because of lack of funds. And so the assemblies are hiring services of qualified operators. But I think that is too much of economic risk. Because if you hire somebody, you may not be responsible for the actions of the person and the attitude of the person, because you may not even know the person's attitude in the first place. But when the person is your own staff, your own trained operator, then you can demand certain responsibilities from the person. And the person also knows that I'm working for the assembly. At the end of the month, I will get my salary. If I misbehave, the assembly will sack me. And then two, economically, if the estimate we have done, you'll be using more money, you'll be paying more for hiring than if you employ these people yourself. Let's say you are doing a road, you have all your 6 equipments on the road. So 6 operators, each of them will collect 500 cedis a day. Assuming they are on the road for 10 days, how much is it? A day will be 500 cedis times 6 is 3,000. Times 10, 30,000. 10 days, 30,000. If you have your own staff, 30,000 could pay the 14 of them. Because each assembly should have 14 operators. The 14 of them, the 30,000 could pay the 14 of them their salaries for the month. So they will have worked for a month, and you'll be spending the same amount of money on them as you'll be spending on somebody you hired for 10 days.
So I take it as nobody's been sanctioned yet for not putting the machinery to use.
No, there's no assembly that is not.
That is not.
Some of them are not using it appropriately.
What does that
Let
mean?
me say, for example, AMA. Because they think they don't have need for any serious roads. They are not having any problem with roads. So they're using equipment to collect refuse. The equipment are not meant to collect refuse.
Right.
You understand? They're using equipment. Every evening you see them using equipment to collect refuse.
Maybe that's the problem they have.
I have cautioned them. I've seized the keys before. But sometimes I sit down and also look at the consequence of my action. That if they don't clear this refuse in the morning, all this will be at the front of people's shops. Or there could be an epidemic the next day. So then we relax and allow them to clear the refuse. But consistently, they've been abusing that privilege we give them. And so I have come up with a contention. Before I left office, my deputy, I've now given the instructions, part of the, let me say, some of the key indicators I gave to him going forward. If AMA, for example, AMA has triple the equipment. AMA has equipment for Ablekuma South, Odododio, Okankwe South. Gan Central need equipment because they have bad roads. Ponkatamanso need equipment. They have bad roads. I've told my deputy, who has now taken over, acting national coordinator, to take 2 of the equipment from AMA, 2 of each. One to Gan Central and one to Ponkatamanso, so that they can augment the ones that are there, because the ones that are there, they are overwhelmed by the number of bad roads they have in the area.
But even in Accra, we do have some pretty poor potholed roads that drip machinery could be filling.
Oh, yeah. The last time, for example, Ablekuma North, the MCE used the drip equipment to fill the potholes that are generated at the, what do you call it, Asore Down traffic light. But the rains have again made it worse. So when the rains end, I'm sure he will go back and fix that.
And fix it. But you know, the issue of repurposing is what I want us to talk about now, because the district road improvement program has a very interesting yet parallel relationship with the floods we're seeing today.
Yes.
In what ways could that program have been used to help out have been used to mitigate some of the floods we're seeing in our communities?
My sister, the truth of the matter is the fact that if the roads are not, let me say, properly done, definitely, whatever be the level of rains, you have some problems. You understand? There's also issue of engineering. Let me give you an example. The road I talk about in Botianonge Shaman from Ogan South, between Barrier, Aplaku, New Aplaku, Old Aplaku, Botiano, going. That road. I don't know who engineered the road. You have a road situating between two hilly areas. So when it rains, whether you like it or not, the force of the water from the topmost part will wash off the road. But that the road has been done. Look at the Accra from, let me say, Malam Junction to Kaswa. It's terrible now. I remember I asked this question in Parliament. I said, until we solve the problem of the degradation happening at the hills, the Tuba Hills, there is no way the mudslide will stop. I saw them doing something there. I'm not an engineer. They said they were building a dock or something. They did. Within a month, it's silted. So go and see it today. Half of the road is gone. The N1, half is gone. So now the inbound vehicles are being forced to share the outbound road.
Right.
It's just a matter of engineering. Between the West Hills Mall and the old Barrier traffic light, it's a disaster. It's a disaster. So sometimes it's also engineering, and it goes beyond the capacity of the assemblies. The assemblies don't have money. The assemblies don't have the money to do this.
Well, I mean, you know, when I talked about repurpose, I mean, you're a well-traveled man.
Yes.
You know that when winter is coming, metro offices put salt on the roads to prepare for winter. And so, or even on very bad days, right? And so you'd expect that an assembly that has equipment that they know that they can desilt with to help prevent unnecessary floods or preventable floods, they will start to put some of those equipment to use, which is why I said that the DRIP has a very interesting yet parallel relationship with the floods. So it is our assemblies that are not working well with your office to ensure that some of these things happen, correct?
When the floods happen, I saw almost 6 assemblies virtually using DRIP equipment to handle it. My question is, how did they happen in the first place? It is not the DRIP coordinator who should tell the man who is going to build in a waterway not to build. There's an engineer. How did the man get the permit to build in that waterway in the first place? How? Because before anybody builds, he has 2 permits to take from an assembly, the development permit and the building permit. How did the person, like what is happening at Blakuma West, how did that guy, is it Kobe Mensah or something, get the permit to build that huge place and cause flooding in that area, to the extent that the flood situation had to be worse enough to cause the MP, Reverend Kwakwadu, and Assembly to now use the DRIP equipment and go and demolish all that building? How did it happen in the first place? How can somebody even build in a waterway in the first place if our laws are working? If our engineers who are being paid every month are doing their work properly? How? It beats my imagination.
Right.
You don't have to have DRIP in order to resolve that. The flooding being caused in the system is not just about desilting. It's also about people building in unauthorized places.
True.
So if we want to resolve, then we should go back to the issue of engineering. We should go back to our issue of our spatial planning. We have a spatial planning policy. How are we respecting that policy? How are we making sure that that policy works in the various MMDAs? How are we making sure that the regulations that lead to construction, building, development, and the rest are respected? If we are able to take care of all this, DRIP will only go in and make sure that the little problems that are created as a result of maybe portals or this and this are done. But I don't know what the parallel relationship I would say is that we are readily available. The equipment belongs to the assemblies. So at any point in time, they think that somebody is the cause of a flooding. They should just use the equipment and demolish the building.
Very well. I want us to look at a few numbers and then we'll come to issues around your chairmanship bid, right? One of those numbers would be how many machinery we have in the system today.
2,286.
Across all the 261
Yes.
districts. I see. That's a lot of machinery.
A lot.
And we expect that they would have been put to work
So,
and no poor roads
my sister,
anywhere.
it's not easy for me because when the program started, there was a sort of tracking system which was developed. Within 6 months, it's expired. And because we didn't have a budget, we would not be able to retrofit the tracking system.
Right.
So now we are using human. So we have to be traveling around the country all the time to monitor and inspect the use of the equipment. It's
I
a bit
see.
tiring.
When you say you didn't have the budget to resume that tracking system,
Yes.
how do you mean?
DRIP, we didn't have a budget. We're not covered in the national budget.
I see.
Yes, so we didn't have the funds to be able to get the tracking system back. We tried to develop one that the person did for us on pilot. If I have my phone, I can show you. As I sit here today, I can demobilize an equipment anywhere
That
in the
is
country.
being used.
Yeah, but that one too, we all now have to pay for a subscription. And so, because we have been paid a subscription, the person has also
But
withheld the services.
how have you been managing the secretariat if you didn't have a budget?
Through the magnanimity of the District Assembly's Common Fund. Later is given to us for administrative purposes. Sitting here, I've used my own vehicle for 1.5 years.
You mean DRIP is being run on charity at this time?
Yes, that's what I would say. The District Assembly's
The benevolence of the assemblies.
district, yes.
I see. Were you ever told why no allocation was made to your office?
You know, it's all because of the way the structure was put up in the beginning. And so now we have really been able to develop a much more robust administrative structure. We have a national secretariat, we have regional coordinators, and we have district coordinators. Apart from them, we have every district.
But
We have a
what
number of
was wrong with the 2024 structure?
There was no really any structure because it was sudden.
Well,
DRIP was put together in a haste.
Right.
You understand? Because just around the time the elections
came
you know,
up,
so
sure.
it was. I took over from somebody who was a national coordinator, but he himself told me he never stepped in that office for more than twice. So that was a situation where we're having. And because it was a political season, people were not carefully selected to even be coordinators. Party apparatchiks took over the machines and they were running it the way. So we came to meet some problems. We've been able to rectify, resolve some of these problems. And we have a very strong administrative structure now, which has been integrated beautifully into the local governance system. The regional ministers are themselves chairmen of the regional roads management committees. All MMDCs are chairmen of the district roads management committees. We have a district road management committee in every district, made up of 7 people. The DCE, the coordinating director, the engineer, the finance officer, the district DRIP coordinator, a representative of traditional authorities, and the security head of the district. These people profile the roads, cost them, make sure the assembly approves them, and then now they look at how to raise the money to be able to handle those roads.
So how were you financing the over 5,000 staff that you had?
They've not been paid.
Including you?
No, the National Secretary, were taken off by DRIP, by District Assembly's Common Fund.
Okay.
But then up to today is let me say, the benevolence of the assemblies. that they give something to our district coordinators. And then the regional ministers and the regional coordinating councils also take care of the regional coordinators. But the operators, the assemblies virtually are now hiring them. And we are not too happy with that, but we are constrained. We need the money to train the people, certify them, and then give them to the assemblies.
I see. This is very shocking to me to hear that, you know.
That's the truth. That's the reality.
For such an important office.
That's the reality.
Anyway, we'll see how it plays out, you know, over the next 2 or 3 years.
I can assure you, His Excellency the President, after our year report, after the review, has become very distant. So a few of our seniors were put together to look at how we can remodel it. And there's a series of meetings between me, the Minister of Finance, and the Minister of Roads and Highways, and we've come to some conclusions. So in the next few weeks or so, I'm sure my people will be happy.
Maybe then
my people will be happy in my absence.
In your absence.
Yes,
Or maybe
they'll be enjoying. I've fought enough for them. I'm going to fight more for them.
But I was just going to say that perhaps we don't need DRIP then. Looking at the structure that you have
DRIP
built.
is the most important.
But the assemblies can take over DRIP. Or you don't trust?
No. You see, the coordination is a problem.
Okay.
The coordination is a problem. And then 2, the management of the equipment is so key. And you need a secretariat that will manage, that will make sure that the assemblies are responding to their maintenance schedules. They are maintaining equipment, they are servicing them. If you don't do that, even this one, sometimes we have to go there and whip people to do the right thing. I don't know whether you saw the video where I was asking somebody whether he's bathed in the morning. Because you use an equipment.
But what has that to do with the work that he's doing?
You are operating an equipment. You go work with it. You come back to pack it. 3 weeks, you haven't washed it. And you can get up in the morning and wash yourself and come to the office.
And sit in
the equipment is your office. That equipment is your office. So you bath, dress up, and come and sit in the dirty equipment. No.
Maintenance.
Maintenance is important. You understand? You go to a place, they haven't serviced the equipment, and they want to use it. No. 3, the most important, and the reason why the National Secretary is so important, but for the vigilance of the National Secretariat, I can tell you, a lot of the equipment will have been abused.
You resigned as national coordinator for DRIP to chase your dreams of becoming the chairperson of the NDC. Why?
There comes a time in the life of man when you have to do a reflection of where you've come from. And in the course of that reflection, you must analyze critically people, institutions, families that have been a blessing unto you. And then you see what can you do in turn in order to return that blessing. The NDC as a party has done great for me. As a young boy, I got myself immersed in the fury of the revolution. And I contributed my best as a student throughout the revolution until I finished university. And when the time came for the NDC to be formed, we were then in a family called the Eagle Club. So the Eagle Club metamorphosed into the Eagle Party, and then the issue of NDC came up. I was one of the few people who received some of the blushes that critically needed to be done in order to get the NDC formed, because there was so much opposition. We thought the movement, the Eagle Club movement, was what was going to restore the confidence the people had in the revolution as we transcend into democracy. So it wasn't easy for us to have the amalgamation of the Eagle Club into the NDC. It was quite a fight. And so I will call myself a foundation member of the NDC. Since then, I've committed myself, I've been loyal, I've worked hard for the party, and the party has blessed me with so many opportunities. I count myself privileged and lucky that through the party, I have encountered as someone who has held public office before in this country. Out of the millions of Ghanaians, I had the opportunity to manage a whole presidential candidate and become his director of affairs and director of operations when he became president. I'm talking of Professor Mills. And then also, John Mahama became president. He willingly made me a deputy minister for trade and industry, and then for local government, and then minister for youth and sports. Today, just as we mentioned, I was privileged, I was fortunate that by the gracious mercies of God, I was made the national coordinator for the District Rules Improvement Program.
Right.
A very wonderful program, a very wonderful program. To me, it's the best program government can really articulate if we want to realize our dreams of opening this country up to our unfortunate, vulnerable people who are in the rural areas. So I count myself lucky. So leaving Parliament, I felt that I have not given the NDC that much as compared to
even after all these.
Yes, I believe the NDC has given me more than I have given the NDC. And I have gained so much experience, knowledge, expertise, that I need to put it at the doorstep of the NDC. So as a child, I have grown to appreciate that you are blessed, that you may be a blessing unto others. So if the NDC, through the NDC, have been blessed to have gained so much knowledge, experience, and all, I need to give something back to the NDC.
And by giving back, you become the chairperson of the party.
Yes, I want to put all those experiences, knowledge, and expertise at the disposal of the party, lead the party through a different level of reform and transformation.
You have been quoted as saying that if Chairman Asiedu Nketia does not run for chairmanship again, then you will announce your bid. So by this, we can conclude that Chairman Nketia is not going again.
Well, for now, it's not official.
Okay.
But from the intelligence we are gathering,
Right.
it's possible he will not run as national chairman again. And that's why I'm very confident that I will be the national chairman for the party come December.
By that statement, we can also conclude that you endorse the leadership of Chairman Asiedu Nketia.
Yes,
you know.
he's been my leader, he's been my senior brother for a long time.
Right.
In fact, we started the process together in Sunyani. I was then with the Students' Front, and they were our leaders. Asiedu Nketia, Yabuatin Jan, Anania J, the late Kojo Mahama Adam, Nyamiche Mafo, all those people were our leaders, our seniors. And I don't see myself competing with my senior brother and comrade if he decided to contest as a chairman once again.
Right. Oh, so if he decides to stay on,
I wouldn't contest him.
You don't say.
It's a fact. I'm a very principled person. I've said it. That if he decides to contest once again as a national chairman, I will go for another position.
And this makes it more instructive because now you have resigned your position as DRIP national coordinator. If tomorrow we wake up and General Mosquito says, look, I'm going again,
I'll go for another position.
You'll go for another position. Yes. I see. Now, I'll come back to that point of being a principled man. But I want us to deal with the issue of, okay, you're somebody I could say looks up to General Mosquito.
Yeah.
As a leader of your party, you endorse his leadership style. What will you be doing differently from him?
A lot.
Okay.
A lot. Even though we all have our own, we are friends. We are definitely. You should know that even if the two of us sit in the same classroom and we are given a question, we'll answer the question differently. So his style definitely will be different from mine.
Okay.
But it will not vary too much.
All right.
But some styles will end up achieving certain results within a short time or a short period, and others will also do that within a medium term and some long term. I'm looking at building this party. It is something that I got from the experience the opportunity the party gave me. I've learned a lot. The party has taken me outside to be in schools that taught us party organization, party administration, party management. And I'm looking at building a very resilient NDC that will be the obvious choice from any youth of Ghana. a resilient NDC that will be able to stand on its own, whether in power or in opposition. That is what I'm looking at. I want to build a party where the grassroots of the party will be much more, let me say, participants in the decision-making process of the party. There has been situations where national executives have taken decisions. Yes, it is their mandate to take decisions. But I'm looking at major policy decisions that go to affect the grassroots of the party. They must have an input. How do they do that? As a grassroots party, feedback is very important. But then I want to go beyond feedback. I want a situation whereby minutes of even party constituency meetings will be reported to regions, from the region to national, so that if national want to take a policy, that policy decision will go down to the constituencies. Let the constituencies decide on them. How do they feel about this policy? Send their feedback to the region. The region will look at it also and then send it to national. So when national is taking a decision on that policy, it is a consummation of all the 276 constituencies, their view. We've had too many situations in the past where national meets, take a decision, and then festers it on the party.
Right.
Whether that decision will near to the benefit, the growth, the development of the party at the grassroots level or not, it doesn't really matter. I don't think that is the way NDC was structured to be built. NDC was structured to be a grassroots party, where the grassroots will be part of the participatory democracy of the party.
Very well.
It is not only at Congress where people will have the opportunity to express their view. At least every quarter, we must know what the party grassroots are saying. And we can only do that from setting up a system, a very robust system, that will always be depending on reports. And then people analyzing the reports and taking out the most generic things among the reports, and it becoming the main policy drive of the party.
Thank you for talking to us.
It's always a pleasure.
Neil Lante Vanderpoel is an aspiring chairman for the NDC. He's also former national DRIP coordinator. We've just been looking at his time as coordinator of this national program, and then also his intention to be the chairperson for the governing NDC. I am Kemini Amana. I'll see you same time next week. Bye-bye.
La 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 la.